Welcome to RadioFlash, Armada's dedicated electromagnetic defence and security podcast, with your host Tom Withington at the controls. On 4th of March, the administration of US President Donald Trump announced an abrupt suspension of all military aid to Ukraine. The news came as little surprise. A few days earlier, on 28th of February, the world witnessed an unbelievable spectacle in the Oval Office. Ukraine's President Vlodomyr Zelenskyy was on the receiving end of a bizarre temper tantrum from Mr. Trump and his Vice President, JD Vance. Mr. Zelenskyy emerged from the contretemps with his dignity intact, arguably not the case for the other two, and a promotion as the new leader of the free world. Fortunately, the suspension was soon lifted, but Mr. Trump's actions provoked some serious questions. Ukraine's allies must step up to quickly fill any void left by Uncle Sam's isolationism, while enhancing their defences against Mr. Putin's regime. Ukraine has benefited from supplies of US electronic warfare kit and expertise. How can these capabilities be substituted, and what are Ukraine's electromagnetic needs as the war continues? To help me make sense of these questions, I'm joined today by Oleksandr Matviienko, a defence journalist and analyst from the publication CounteroffensivePro. He goes by the call sign of Sashko, and he joins us from Kyiv. Sashko, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Firstly, tell me about the atmosphere in Kyiv following those events in early March.
To be honest, I can compare it with the beginning of the full-scale war because for now I feel a lot of unity in our people because we really didn't expect those kind of spectacles that take place at the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. And I think we are ready to protect our country even more now, because I think that it's not the best way to make a partnership or friendship between countries. And also I wanted to mention that we call him Volodymyr Zelenskyy now Sanich by his patronic name, just to show that he is totally our guy.
Looking towards the electromagnetic situation, how has Ukrainian electronic warfare technology changed and developed since the first Russian invasion of 2014?
You know, I would like to divide this topic into 3 points. First one is how it was before 2014. And in a nutshell, it was like Ukraine tried to sell everything that they could in army just because we didn't expect any war in future or at all. Then second and third one, second from 2014 till the beginning of the full-scale invasion, and then from the full-scale invasion to our time. So in 2014, situation with electronic warfare in Ukraine wasn't quite good because we had only 4 producers of this kind of systems, and one of them was located on in Donetsk or Lugansk region. I don't remember exactly, but it is under occupation since the 2014. So we didn't have advanced systems if we compare them with the Russians. Because Russians managed to make a lot of reforms in that field, and they were better prepared for full-scale invasion. So in 2014, everything started from a bottom, like it was a more enthusiastic development. A lot of engineers just tried to fulfill the demand from soldiers, and it wasn't like centralized, or it wasn't supported from Ukrainian government a lot. So first companies was founded in 2014, 2016 and 16, and now they are like one of the main players on that field. And since the beginning of full-scale war, everything has changed one more time, because I woke up on that moment in Kharkiv region and heard a lot of explosions. And government realized that they should help to develop electronic warfare, drones, etc., etc. And one of the points was deregulation in that sphere that allows to get more profit for EV producers, because usually defense procurement is very regulating sphere, not only in Ukraine, but in any country. So in Ukraine, a regular producer of, for example, tanks can put only 7% of profit for its product when he sell it to Ukrainian government. But for drone producers, EW producers, and ammo producers, they increase it to 25%. This was one of the ways how enterprises get some free money to invest in new technologies, because with FPV drones and Mavic type drones, battlefields changed, and you cannot simply put like a massive system somewhere behind the front line in 20 or 30 kilometers away from a battlefield, because it will be destroyed by FPV drone, or maybe if it's Russian, it can be kamikaze drone Lancet. So we had a huge demand from soldiers to develop something mobile and that can move across front line without any with lower chance to be struck by Russians. And this is also interesting because Ukraine also founded Brave One organization, which allocated some funding to developers to help them to grow. And the latest info that they published is that right now Ukraine has 140 producers of electronic warfare system. So it's like a really huge difference between 2014 and now. And this kind of war that we have in Ukraine, it moves to rapid changes in every sphere regarding to drones and electronic warfare. For example, FPV drones are changing every 3, 4, 5 months. They changes frequencies on which they are flying, and this leads to electronic warfare moved on these new frequencies as well. And that's why things are changing so quickly here that I think that after our conversation in a few months, possibly there can be some new system that will work on new frequencies against Russian drones.
How responsive has the Ukrainian electronic warfare industry been when Russia has deployed new electromagnetic systems and tactics?
Well, that's a really interesting and complicated in the same time question, just because Russians managed to reform the electronic warfare military, and they were much better prepared than Ukrainians, as I said, and it's like a cat mouse game, you know, constantly, because Russians jumping on other frequencies, or like developing new electronic warfare system, and Ukrainians should respond to it, and it's moving every time, and I think that we cannot say that Russians or Ukrainians are like better in electronic warfare, because it's a constant race. And also, I would like to emphasize another topic, that Ukrainians also really innovative and decentralized. And this is a real difference between us and Russians, because usually some innovations in Ukraine comes from a bottom line, and usually all of the producers had like a person on the ground who in constant touch with soldiers to know what is the latest development, what they need, and how they can change or improve the equipment. And on a tactical level, yeah, it's a race even faster than like on a strategic level or something like that. So I think that that we cannot say that Ukrainians like too slow in responding these challenges. I think due to its quantity and quality, we are looking pretty good in that.
What are the major lessons learned regarding the tactical electromagnetic battle for NATO's European members?
Last year, I read an article from an American soldier who served in the Ukrainian army, and he emphasized really interesting point that you cannot simply put massive or even a smaller one like units on which you will concentrate all of your stuff just because it will be struck by drones. So here I want to emphasize that drones are really game-changing weapon even in electronic warfare field because there are FPV drones on optic fiber cable and they just you cannot just inherit it. They will fly just because all of the connections are put in this cable. And that's why now 10 kilometer or even 20 kilometer behind the front line can be a kill zone for any system or unit, including electronic warfare system. So what NATO allies should mention, should like should understand is that drones change a lot, and also quantity is a really important thing, that you cannot be just like a very high-end army with some high-end technical equipment because quantity is matter really a lot. So on a tactical level, you should have like in trenches special electronic warfare for trenches, which will cover units from FPV drones trying to hide them from this threat. And also there are some anti-drone guns that actually were tested on the Ukrainian battlefield in 2018-19, I think, before full-scale invasion. I think Lithuania was one of the first countries that supply us with their products, and the Ukrainians tested them. And now it's like one of the main demands from Ukrainian soldiers is to get those tactical level electronic warfare to protect them not only on positions, but also when they move in from behind to a position, because as we know, FPV drones or bigger one, like Lance said, they can strike in a range up to 60 kilometers. And it's really dangerous for Ukrainian soldiers to get into position. And the last one point is, I would say that NATO should change their procurement just to respond really quickly for changing environment on a battlefield, because I'm pretty sure that if a Ukrainian government or like charity funds weren't so quick and rapid, Ukrainians will be in much worse situation that in which we are now.
Finally, what assistance does the Ukrainian EW industry need from allies?
I just cannot say from a soldier's perspective, but I can say it from a perspective of Ukrainian Miltech. And I would say that more preferable will be joint ventures with Western companies, just because we are at the point where we have to replace Chinese components to get rid of them, and to help Ukraine fight even better than now, to reduce these logistics that can take up to 1, 2, or 3 months to ship it from, for example, Great Britain to Ukraine. And in that way, both sides will be in a plus, just because NATO allies will be prepared to possible war better.
Sashko, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for your invitation. It was a pleasure.
You can learn more about Counteroffensive Pro and their excellent coverage of Ukrainian defence innovation by visiting their website at Counteroffensive.pro. Don't forget that there is more news and analysis available at armadainternational.com. That's all we have time for. Thanks for listening.